Angus Sedwick. I'm the CEO of the Invoice Market, or TIM as he's affectionately known. TIM is a flexible cash flow funding provider. What that means is that we provide flexible cash flow solutions to Australian businesses, specifically around invoice funding. So if a business has a need to bring forward their cash flow, we call it bring forward tomorrow's cash flow today. So just give you a very simple example, if a business provides goods or services to another Australian business on trade terms, meaning that they deliver the goods and an invoice, but that invoice may not be paid by the debtor, their customer, for 30 days, 45 days, potentially up to 60 days, then that has an impact on their cash flow. So they've delivered the goods or the services and spent their money to do so, but they're not seeing the income from that for up to 60 days. That's where my business, Tim, would come in and say, right, we'll assist you by providing cash flow against the value of those invoices today. Our business model is quite unique in the market in that it's a flexible solution. We don't lock clients into an ongoing contract requiring them to fund all their invoices for the next 12 months. We allow the business owner to pick and choose which invoices, how often, which debtor they'd like to fund, and that's quite a unique solution in the Australian market. Look, the growth of the invoice market from a standing start in 2014 has been extraordinary. You know, we've funded over $180 million to December of 2016 in that 2.5-year period to Australian businesses, and that's to over 120 different Australian businesses out there. And each one of those businesses has 2, 3, 4, up to 10 different debtors that we've worked with over that 2.5-year period. So I see the growth of the invoice market continuing on that sort of trajectory. We are the #1 provider of flexible cash flow funding solutions in Australia, and I see us continuing to be in the #1 position. We'll continue to innovate and bring other products in. We're about to launch in early new year a product called Accelerator, which is a supply chain funding alternative where companies that are paying their suppliers, they negotiate a discount with their supplier on the basis they'll pay them on day one using our money. And based on the value of the size of that discount they can get for cash on delivery effectively, is how they then they share part of that discount with us, and they keep part of it for themselves, and so effectively it's a zero cost funding solution. Massive in the United States, and we're bringing a flexible product to Australia, as I said, called Accelerator. So I see us over the next 3 to 5 years growing to doing an annualised turnover of $250 million a year. That's where I'd like to get the business to over the next sort of 18 months. You know, the stat 8 out of 10 new businesses do fail, and most of them fail for lack of cash flow. Now, whether that's because they haven't planned the business well enough is mostly the case. They've got a good idea, but they haven't got the structure in place and the plans to develop that good idea. I would say to any new business or budding entrepreneur is to know where you want to go, and how you're going to get there, and how you're going to fund it. They're probably the 3 basic premises of growing a business. So have a business plan, have a budget, have a cash flow plan. Think about, in terms of the cash flow funding, okay, if I'm selling a good or a service, and exactly what I was talking about before, on trade terms, your customers are going to want terms from you. How are you going to fund the business during that time when you're out of pocket for 60 days? Do you get traditional bank debt? I'd suggest it's going to be very hard if it's a new business. In fact, you won't get unless you put your personal house up. Maybe that's what you do. You borrow out of your house, out of your mortgage, and lend the money to your company. Or do you sell equity in the business and bring in a shareholder partner that's got capital? So these are all things that need to be considered up front. And a lot of businesses have said that they think, oh, I've got a great idea, I'll just jump in and get going, and that's why they don't make it past those first 2 years. I think there's all successful businesses have a duty to give back to their community, because it's the community that's helping them be successful. And that's certainly the plan with the invoice marketing and all other businesses that I've been involved with. We've had a benevolent or a charity gift giving, and whether that's through actual financial donations or through the giving of time, because then you got hands-on and you can actually see the results, and then you get your staff involved in it, and they feel part of the team, and because at the end of the day it's us and them that are going out to do it together.